Most people who play you already know how to play against you. But the problem is when you start running a team like that, that's already known by like most hardcore battlers, you're really at a disadvantage than an advantage. I've pretty much run the same team all season that I ran for the past 2 seasons. So, during the season, about a week ago, I was at 2850 elo. Or no, 2860. And Legend was in arm's reach. Something I was not expecting towards the end of the Great League cycle was how Trevenant was going to essentially change the meta in a way that actually became a lot more difficult for my... I was using the Beansword double still team pretty much all season. So what I'm going to talk about today is how did this happen? I'm actually sitting around 24 something right now, elo, and am I worried? Yes, I'm a little stressed because obviously I just want to hit Legend and be done. But more than likely, it's just a setback, and it's not going to prevent me from hitting Legend this season. But I thought about a lot what happened here for me personally. And admittingly, you know, I didn't want to stream a lot of my battles this season because I figured it would be a lot easier for me to hit Legend off stream because it has been in the past. But something about this season has been very unique, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to share my personal experience. I've pretty much run the same team all season that I ran for the past 2 seasons. There's a lot of disadvantages to this strategy, while there's also advantages. The advantage being it's a meta team, I'm comfortable with it, and that's probably the main thing. But the problem with running a team that is so obvious is most people who play you already know how to play against you. But the problem is when you start running a team like that, that's already known by like most hardcore battlers, you're really at a disadvantage than an advantage because people already know what you're doing. And the part of the GBL experience, in my opinion, is actually throwing the curveballs, is trying to catch people off guard by what you have as your third or your back line. So while a meta team will probably still perform really well and get you to Legend, I think like in the past, I typically have, in the past, I've pretty much done it my own way. You know, like I just play teams that no one else is playing and I get comfortable with them and I just push with them. And the thing about running teams in Pokemon GO, in general, or trying something new, if you're not comfortable, it doesn't matter if you technically could win the battle. The way you lose matches in this game is just purely being slower at reaction time than your opponent. Like I've been running Honchkrow a lot for fun, and I've lost so many matches in Halloween Cup just purely based on small mistakes on my end. I was like an arm's length away from hitting a Legend, and I was trying to stick to an old meta team that I wasn't really comfortable trying new things this season purely because I knew there was going to be like a learning curve. But today we're just going to be covering a bunch of fun matches that I had this season that I did on stream or in one way or another I had recorded. But these were a couple of the lines I was running in the second half of the season here. The whole point of this video was talking about how I stuck to this Great League team. And now here I am, back to where I belong. Alright, so I was running Honchkrow in the Halloween Cup, and I had a blast running this Pokemon. So the team was Wormadam lead, and in this situation I win the lead, they switch to Wormadam, and I'm actually going to switch to Honchkrow because this is a really good matchup for Honchkrow. We're going to shield the Bug Buzz here. Does not really matter if we get a defense drop, because we resist the confusions. And honestly, a Brave Bird could have knocked out here. But this is okay too, because Snarl lets us gain energy really quick. I'd say Honchkrow in the Halloween Cup was really difficult to make work, but see here, they did not even shield that Brave Bird, thinking I was going to just Sky Attack, and there goes their Nidoqueen. So this really just seals the battle for me here, because we have our XL Azu, which is going to just easily wall this Mawile, even if it throws like an Iron Head or Play Rough here. We are good. We can pretty much go for a farm down. We're not fearing the Fire Fang, which was the common fast move on Mawile in this meta, just because all the bug steel types that were running rampant. But yeah, this was insane. So yeah, I would say this team is a little spicy, but it still makes sense why I pick Honchkrow in this meta. And we'll kind of demonstrate that in some of these battles. So yeah, I didn't really dedicate any individual videos really to GBL this season, I guess, aside my Heracross video from earlier. But yeah, I wanted to share a bunch of battles I've done on stream over the last couple weeks when I was just like trying to push towards the legend. And yeah, so in this match we win the lead. They switch to T-Tar. We actually switch in our Azu. We're going to be able to take down this Shadow T-Tar. We're not even going to try to go for the Play Rough because we can just get an Ice Beam off here, and either they're going to shield or it's going to still do enough damage. And we're going to shield here just so we live. We weren't really sure. Yeah, we definitely need to win this switch. So, interesting enough, it's a tie, but we do get the shield. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to bring in our Honchkrow. And there is actually the Crustle, but I'm going to get to a Brave Bird. And the real question is, does a Brave Bird knock out Crustle? It does. And here we go, back to where we began. And that should be the game, because Qwilfish really doesn't have the tools to do enough damage to Wormadam before I can essentially just Confusion down. But yeah, this is a really, whenever I first started using this team, I was getting a lot of losses, and I was a little discouraged, but I could see the potential if my reaction time was fast enough. The reason why Honchkrow is so nice in this meta, Drapion was everywhere, and as a safe swap, I could actually outpace Drapion safely and kind of like create momentum shift. This is a crazy match too, because obviously we wanted to switch in on the Jellicent, and they know they could take a Sky Attack, I suppose, but that Brave Bird that just went right through there was huge. And they bring in their Jellicent again, and it's crazy because we're able to get to the Sky Attack because it is a Hex Jellicent. So we're in a really good position here, and I don't really want to line my Wormadam up with the Jellicent. I'm going to just bring in my Azu to tank a couple Shadow Balls and try to get Play Rough off, and then I will switch back to my Wormadam and try to farm down on Jellicent, depending on if it shields or if it just takes the Play Rough, and more than likely it's just going to take the damage. So a lot of times when I was playing this line, I would, if I lost the lead, I would generally safe swap. I would use Honchkrow as a safe swap, even in scenarios where I just, something would come in, like you saw here, the Yellow and Ninetales the Charm came in and was essentially just going to farm me down. And it could have safely taken a Sky Attack. But anyways, we have ourselves a Drapion in the back line on this team, and that actually kind of scared me, because Drapion is still a little difficult for my team to just deal with. Even if we have some favorable matchups, it will still a lot of times come down to energy and shields. So this is great, because I actually make an amazing switch and catch the Aqua Tail, because this is actually an Aqua Tail Drapion. And fortunately enough for me, I am able to farm down, and we're going to throw Play Rough here on the Jellicent to secure the win in this battle. So yeah, the thing about running Honchkrow, like I said, it can beat Mandibuzz, it can win against Wormadam, it's a glass cannon, but if used correctly to bait or even just nuke, you can really surprise your opponents. And I feel when you're playing GBL, anything you can do to make your opponent hesitate a little bit will give you a slight advantage. So as you can tell in this matchup, we actually have a really nice lead here against Golbat, because Golbat doesn't really want to take these confusions, and if it went straight Shadow Ball there, it's not too scary, so I didn't even shield, and of course they throw the Poison Fang. We do shield the Shadow Ball. Now they switch to Mandibuzz. We're going to switch in Azu to trap the Mandibuzz. We don't really have to shield anything here. And I'm just going to start launching Play Roughs on this Mandibuzz to get rid of this. And they do end up just taking the first one. Now I can just go for another... I could have realistically just thrown Ice Beam here. But I go for another Play Rough. We knock out the Mandibuzz. In comes the Drapion. We are able to get off Ice Beam here before the Drapion throws a move. It might be trying to store up a little bit of extra energy here. So we're probably going to get hit by the Sludge Bomb. We do, it knocks us out. But we do have a really good situation here because we have a shield. We know Snarl on Honchkrow is going to get to our move rather fast. And at this range, Sky Attack is absolutely going to knock out Drapion. Here though, I should have probably tried to take advantage of this situation and shielded. I mean, I should have tried to gain a little bit of extra energy before I threw the Sky Attack, but realistically it didn't really matter with Golbat in the back. It couldn't have done enough to kill me fast enough. So in this matchup, we actually get ourselves an Azu lead, and what I was going to do is try to store up to 2 Iron Heads and then throw them, but what they end up doing is switching to their Wormadam in the process of that, and I'm going to insta-swap to Honchkrow. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. I can just shield here, but what I'm going to end up doing is, instead of trying to bait, I'm going to say, you know what, this guy is not going to shield this. And I made the right call. We just completely almost delete this Wormadam, and we also have energy. So we're at minus attack, but we're going to be able to threaten whatever comes in, and Dryalgae comes in, and at least we get a shield. I mean, we get a little bit of farm down, but we aren't too afraid of this matchup, because remember, we do have our Azu in the back to mirror the other Azu, and we also stored a lot of energy on our Wormadam, and as you can see here, kind of pays off. We're not going to shield, we're not really scared of anything that Dryalgae has to throw at us. And same situation here. Majority of the Azu in this meta were not running Hydro Pump, so I generally didn't have to worry about shielding. There are the occasional that do, but if that's the case, I'm not really... There's other means to the end, I guess. But anyways, let's just focus on this. So we can actually bring our Azu in, and now we can just be doing the mirror and go for play roughs. We're obviously going to win this mirror purely because we have more HP, and that's all that matters really here. So they're going to try to rely on their Dryalgae, but the thing is, me having a shield, that's like its fast attacks aren't going to be doing enough damage, and it has to throw like a poison move. So in this matchup, we actually get a Scrafty, and I'm going to make the crazy switch to Honchkrow, which, as you can see, these counters are destroying. And interesting enough, they did not want to stay in, even though they could have just farmed me down. Maybe because they didn't want to take 2 Sky Attacks. I'm not really sure. They could have on it. I was just trying to like get a panic switch out of my opponent. But I'm just gonna let it die here. And now that we're both down to shield, I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to farm down Quillfish. That's why I I know I had all that energy on Honchkrow, but I was thinking in my head at the time, why not just let the Honchkrow die and bring in Wormadam and just get as much energy as possible? Because as you can see here, they don't want me to do that, and they switch their Scrafty. I'm able to get off a Bug Buzz, they don't shield, and because they switched in Scrafty, I'm going to be able to safely switch in my Azu. I'm not going to shield these moves, no matter what it is. Even though this is going to potentially be a boosted foul play, I'm taking this to the face. And I'm going for that farm down, so I can have that plentiful energy. And yeah, it's like pretty insane, honestly. So yeah, they bring in the Quillfish, but remember, we already kind of farmed it down a lot with the confusion on Wormadam, so an Ice Beam can actually knock out this range. We see a Nidoqueen, we have all this energy, why not throw an Ice Beam? And now we're going to bring back in Wormadam, and this is the crazy thing. Look at this crazy play I do. I'm like, you know what, this is not Earth Power. And it was actually Poison Fang bait. And here I'm actually fishing for a defense drop. I don't know if maybe it would have been better to go for Iron Head here, but I actually got the defense drop, which may have actually, I may have been able to win still. It's hard to know, but that might have mattered, because it looked like I was about to die there from those defense drops. Okay, so in this battle, we actually are in the mirror. Generally, I like to insta-swap, but this is just like all chaotic, and you know what, I'm just like throwing a Hail Mary. I'm like, you know what, I'm just throwing the Brave Bird. And it's insane. They do not shield the Wigglytuff. Completely delete Wigglytuff. Now they're going to bring back in the Wormadam. And they can't even farm down. Even though I'm at minus defense. And I'm throwing a Sky Attack, ladies and gentlemen. that does a significant amount of damage. Now we wait out the timer a bit, we'll bring back Wormadam. I don't think I need to shield this, right? I mean, we're in such a good position. I'm going for a little bit of energy gain here. And I think this time, I just let it go through too. I'm thinking to myself, I don't see the fear, you know? I'm gonna actually throw this energy, kind of regret it, undertap it, try to go for farm down. They do actually have Nidoqueen in the back. That's kind of what I was thinking in the last minute. Like, they have a Nidoqueen, I'm actually kind of, this is not the best scenario for me. So they do try to throw the Earth Power. I'm going for the Iron Heads here. We're not trying to get lucky with some defense drops. We need to just get those shields out of the way. And it's pretty insane because we are fortunate enough we get it off. And this is kind of scary, but there's not a lot a Nidoqueen can really do in this type of situation to win against Azu. So fortunately for me, they just quit because they just knew that was the game. Alright, so yeah. Let's jump out of the Halloween Cup ones, and now I'm going to show you some Open Ultra League spicy battles. Alright, so this is Open Ultra League, and naturally, I'm going to transition using Honchkrow there. So we get ourselves a Scrafty lead, and this is still kind of scary, but I'm going to take the first power-up punch. Let's try to store some energy. I wasn't sure if they were going to try to shield this or not. Makes sense they would, considering that they can just kind of farm down. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to get one shield. Maybe not the best approach to this match, but I know I have a Ninetales with Charm. So I'm just going to try to save my shields and go for a farm down here on Scrafty. And I'm just going to take the Foul Play, even though I know it's going to do a decent chunk. I still want to just keep these shields. They bring in Low and Muck, and we're going to switch into our Shadow Swampert to try to match and outpace it to... anyways, they bring in Jellicent, and I make a really I see that it's Hex, and I'm assuming this might be Bubble Beam. So I make a really crazy call and don't even shield the first move, and it was a Bubble Beam. So this really puts us in a nice position. And right here, I was thinking they're probably going to want to shield this, so I try to bait. They actually didn't shield, so I have to throw my other Hydro Pump. And interesting enough, they do shield here. And I'm gonna just switch in my Ninetales and let it go. I wanted to just try to get some energy. I know I can, like, you know, I was trying to test and see if I can outpace the Jellicent. I don't want to get hit by a Bubble Beam realistically. And I want to save my shield for this situation where, you know, I mean, the Acid Spray was actually a little frightening there. I will admit, I was a little scared that that was Acid Spray with how low my HP was, but fortunately for us, we can get the Earthquake and knock out the Muck. Right, so in the rest of these Open Ultra League battles, I'm going to be showcasing a different line. So we have ourselves a Swampert lead, and you know, this is kind of interesting that I decided to stay in here, but yeah, I'm going to just stay in apparently and try to go for a Drill Run, and we do get a shield, and they don't throw any energy yet, so I'm going to actually decide to switch in Suicune. And we do risk it. We take a Hydro Cannon to the face. We can tank that. They switch in Venusaur. We're going to shield the first Frenzy Plant because we do have some energy. And a lot of times people do not shield Suicune. And the Ice Beam actually does a significant amount of damage here. So I'm going to try my best to see if this can knock out. It doesn't knock out, unfortunately. And with 1 HP and a Dream, this Venusaur's throwing a Frenzy Plant my way. But in my mind, I was thinking, you know, I'm going to shield here. Maybe it'd be nice to throw a Bubble Beam on whatever comes in. Unfortunately for me, we're just getting met with this Swampert that already has enough energy, so it just knocks us out. But now we can like realign the battle. And the Swampert didn't have any energy, so we're just going to throw in Altaria, because a lot of times the Swamperts are running Earthquake and Open Ultra. So there's not really anything it can do to me. So they're going to just let the Swampert go. Maybe I should try to get a little bit more energy here. But they do have a Giratina in the back line, and this isn't the worst for us. I mean, we do have some energy on Escavalier when we switched out, and Altaria can do a decent amount of threat here. So we do get the final shield with our Sky Attack, and now we're going to switch in Escavalier and try our best to get some Drill Runs off and do as much damage as possible on Giratina. So, bam. If we can just get one more drill run here, and that will be a satisfactory win for us. And as you can tell, that's what we do. I think the Giratina knew they kind of had to store a little bit of extra energy because of the Altaria that I have, but good game regardless. So in this one, we actually get ourselves a Giratina lead. Maybe not the best situation for us, but it's kind of tough for us to try to... It's not that it's impossible for us to switch out on this, but we're just going to stay in, and we're throwing Drill Run. And we're not going to shield, we're just going to take the Shadow Sneaks, which is the best move for Giratina to be throwing at us. Unless by chance they're running Ancient Power. But yeah, we're not going to shield at all. We're just going to try to throw moves, and as you can tell, Giratina is going to win this matchup, but we're not too threatened, I feel. Like, I want to bring in... I think I bring in Altaria here, and I try to go for a farm down on Giratina. I think that's what the plan was. I'm just going to tank the Dragon Claw, go for a farm down. And at this point in the match, I realized, oh, how am I going to deal with this Registeel? So I insta-swap to Suicune. I'm throwing a Bubble Beam. It's not really the best situation for me because this Registeel can switch out. And I'm just going to no-shield a Focus Blast. They switch out into their Swampert. I'm going for Bubble Beams here. I'm trying to lower the Swampert's attack. I don't know what it's running, but I'm assuming it might try to bait here. So I think I actually do shield because I was thinking to myself, maybe I can get the Bubble Beam off. And they do actually have 2 Hydras, so I'm going to just take one of them. And fortunately for me, I can still get off the Bubble Beam. They do shield. I have a Sky Attack already stored. I'm going to throw this on the Swampert. It doesn't even do a lot of damage. But in comes the Registeel again. And this is insane. I'm like, how am I going to win against this? I throw a Sky Attack. I'm going for as much damage as I can with our Dragon Breath. I'm trying to waste out the timer here as well. So I'm like throwing another Sky Attack. I definitely have to use this. I feel Altaria is the only way I can come out of this alive. And I switch into Suicune. I'm able to get a Bubble Beam off on this Registeel. They do shield because they're trying their best to keep it alive. They're too scared to leave the Suicune up, which is probably the best call. They throw energy. At this point, though, I'm going to go for a farm down Registeel and hope that that minus attack was enough. And as you can tell here, I can just barely live with that Flash Cannon hitting me. And I'm throwing a Sky Attack on this Swampert to knock it out. And then I can actually win the timeout purely because I had more HP. I would have won there, even if there wasn't a timeout. Alright, let's head into now the Kanto Cup. But I'm just going to mess around and try out some of these teams I've built in the past. Themed around the Kanto gym leaders. I don't know where I'm going to start on this list. But I'm gonna base it primarily off of my emotions and what I remember in the past. Alright, so here we have Kanto Cup battles. So my first day of Kanto Cup, I revisited some teams I built in the past that were inspired by the gym leaders in the Kanto region. So this is a team that's inspired by Misty. So here we have ourselves a Dragonair lead against this Machamp. And we're definitely gonna stay in because we know the Shadow Machamp is not going to appreciate taking these Dragon Breaths. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to switch into our Shadow Golduck here, which is our MVP of this team. And we're going to take that Cross Chop to the face, which is going to hurt because it is just a mono type for water. And funny enough, I was just like, oh my gosh, please, this person, hopefully they do not know what Golduck has as its moveset. And fortunately for us, they actually kind of got debated here and they shielded a Cross Chop. But anyways, this is a pretty good situation for us now, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring in Dewgong. And that was insane how much damage that did to my Dewgong. But the funny thing was, it actually was a visual glitch because I insta-swapped after I took the Bone Club. Man, that actually kind of confused me for a second. So yeah, we took a Bone Club and we switched. That's why it looked like I took all that damage. But anyways, this is an insane battle because we're getting a lone Sandslash in the back line. And unfortunately, this is kind of a scary Pokemon against our team, but we're pretty lucky that they're actually just running Bulldoze, not Gyro Ball, and we can actually, fortunately, just barely win this because we can get that Icy Wind off on the Marowak, and it is low enough HP to die. So that's just kind of a crazy start. So we get a Mew here for our next battle, and I'm gonna actually switch out here to the mirror, but when I was in this battle, I remember feeling like this would have been the perfect moment to bring in our Shadow Golduck, because we can be confusioning down, we're going to be resisting all the moves Dewgong has, and we can also threaten with a cross chop. But you'll kind of see how, in a way, it works out better that we did not switch into Golduck here. And yeah, we're in this like painful mirror match, and I don't know, I was like, maybe I'll get off more damage, and then I see how much that actually did. I'm like, was that worth it? I think it's better to just get those debuffs off and try to like figure out like a exit plan here. So we're going to throw it. They're actually going to switch into their Machamp. And this is when I realized, oh my gosh, I actually am glad I didn't bring in Golduck here. And I decided not to shield at all, which honestly, kind of a ballsy play on my end. But I knew they had that Mew. So I think I don't know, it just kind of works out here because they didn't want to save their Machamp. I make a really risky call here because I'm thinking, they're not going to want to throw a Wild Charge, because if I shield that, I can just essentially farm it down. And I know I can take a Surf to the face. So I actually don't shield one of the Surfs, which gives me a really nice advantage here, because now I'm going to be throwing these Aqua Tails. And Mew, they're just going to let the Mew go. Dewgong comes back in, and this is where things get a little spicy, because this is just painful. Like, my opponent knows they're pretty much going to have to like get as much damage off here as possible, because I'm coming in with these debuffs now, and I'm trying to essentially make this has become a fast move game. Charge moves do not matter here, but what I'm doing is I'm throwing this move off purely because it does lower its attack. And you'll kind of see, like, even though these aren't doing a lot of damage, our opponent would have been in a much better state if they actually just shielded one of those even. Because I think this really does come down to just me farming down. Yeah, and like if you think about how much damage it was doing back to me, I really think if they just shielded two of those Icy Winds, or even like one of them, they could have maybe just won. But we got lucky. So in this one, we get a Pidgeot lead, and I'm gonna just throw an Aqua Tail right away, because I might end up shielding in this matchup, and I do not want to be throwing a reduced attack Aqua Tail on this Pidgeot. Because Pidgeot does have some decent bulk, especially for something that's not stab and coming from Dragonair like an Aqua Tail. So fortunately for us, we are able to get in a situation where we can kind of just farm it down. They're going to bring in their Shadow Hypno. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in Dewgong here, and they're going to stay in. I think I shield the Thunder Punch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw an Icy Wind to try to scare the Hypno out. They do stay in. It's actually not that bad either, because we can take these moves. So as you can see, the Hypno is going to just opt in on staying in, and they're going to throw another Thunder Punch, and it will hurt, but now we're going to throw another Icy Wind, because in my mind, I think this is Pokemon we really don't have the best answer to right now. But they are going to just try to get up another Thunder Punch, take out my Dewgong. They are at -2 attack. I'm going to bring in Golduck. Fortunately for us, they do have a Nidoqueen here in the back line. I mean, this is kind of interesting. I almost feel like I should have been a little more patient and tried to get off the Ice Beam there. But I actually make a really great switch here. I mean, we do have energy on Dragonair, which is kind of a missed opportunity. But we do eat an Earth Power, so I guess it's still worth it. Because now we can just kind of farm down, throw a Cross Chop on Hypno. Again, I could have maybe gone for an Ice Beam here, but as you can see, the way the game lags and such, I could have maybe accidentally overtapped and died there. So in this next match, we have ourselves a Shadow Hypno lead, and I think I just decided to stay in. I feel like this is a pretty solid situation for me. They bring in their Lapras, and I look at this as a good opportunity to bring in Golduck, to kind of prove its potential against these ice water types. I don't know, I just assumed we might be seeing a bait move here, and they throw a Skull Bash, which completely obliterates my Golduck. But now I'm gonna just come in and farm down with Dugong, and crazy enough, it gives me enough energy for an Icy Wind, so whatever comes in here is getting debuffed. We see the Shadow Hypno, and we debuff it, and we know we're in a pretty good position here, but I'm not entirely aware of what we're going to see in the back line yet, so I'm going to shield. I want to keep my Dugong at a decent health, and we're going to switch in pressure this Hypno, and we realize now we have ourselves in the low end Sandslash to deal with here, and that's really frightening for us because we don't really have the best way to deal with this, and it looks as if they're going to try to go for a farm down on us, so I'm just trying to get off as much damage with Dragonair. They're obviously going to want to save their shields, and I have to shield the first move here, and it turns out it is Gyro Ball, and Gyro Ball will actually be kind of like a threatening move if it connects like that. So we get one debuff off, and here we are taking a neutral Gyro Ball. Unfortunately for us, we can kind of tank that, and based on the way we were able to tank that move, I am thinking to myself, okay, we might be able to win this because we're going to get off another Icy Wind, so the next Gyro Ball is even going to be less damage, creating more of a situation where we can get to another Icy Wind to secure the win. And this was insane. Like, winning this match was just absurd. But yeah, I had a big inspiration during one of my streams where I was just kind of sick of running meta teams. You know, that Venusaur Double Steel team doesn't have a place in my heart, like a lot of the Spice lines, or just trying something that's a little more us. I do have a really cool Kanto team that I'm going to be sharing here soon on the channel that's helping me push the legend. I'm really excited about it. It might even help me push leaderboard. I know that these have not really been goals of mine in the over the last few seasons. I've just been kind of playing more casually, covering the game, you know, talking about topics that interest me. But if you've come this far, definitely please like this video, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate you being here. Like, you being here and watching this is helping my content out and helping me grow as a YouTuber. So thank you so much for coming out to this video. There will be more content coming up, and the Sand Squad is getting stronger each and every day. You guys have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one.